Well, greetings. It's good to be back with all of you. We are celebrating 75 episodes of Light Bulb Moments with you today. And we hope that you have some light bulb moments today. No doubt you will with our special guest. Remember, money's not the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. I'm Tom Kuhn from Qnity. I'm your host and your curator. What we're here to do is to create greater prosperity for you, which is not only great money, but doing what you love and having a wonderful quality of life. To go from what's confusing, complicated, and overwhelming to a clear path towards money prosperity and everything that goes with it. Following the new rules of engagement, which is simple, visual, and actionable. And remember to prosper manage your ATM. This is a version of return on investment. ATM stands for attention, time, and money, and it's not lost on us that you are spending your precious time with us today. Past recordings of the Roundtable are posted in the Plan for Profits portal. They're also on YouTube. And we did merge the school and the salon roundtables together last couple sessions ago. So welcome, whether you're from the school audience or salons or spas. Our last guest, which was 2 weeks ago, I kind of took a week off last week. I actually want to talk about that in a moment. There really wasn't a week off. It was working remotely, but I'll get to that in a moment. Our last guest was Janine Letford. Gosh, what an amazing human this is. Definitely listen to the recording. I walked away very inspired and informed, and she is doing some amazing things. This week, we get to welcome live from Dublin, Ireland, Ronan Perceval. We'll bring Ronan into the conversation in a few minutes here. Ronan will be officially welcomed into the Brain Trust today, and we'll be looking for some light bulb moments that come from all of you as well as Ronan. Remember, May 15th is a celebration of light bulb moments, and this is where we will acknowledge 2 years of contribution by people contributing to the Roundtable, their amazing ideas and creativity, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that I do want to throw out to you as a group is we have the golden light bulb. That is the golden light bulb. I don't know if I've revealed this yet, but this is the golden light bulb. And we will be awarding 2, possibly 3 golden light bulbs. So send Michelle or I a private message if there's somebody you want to nominate, somebody that's been particularly impactful during these roundtables. Of who you think would be deserving. Everybody deserves a golden light bulb, but we can acknowledge 3 of them in Scottsdale. All right, back to where I was here. Now we're also announcing, we announced, I think it was last week, that we will be having our first annual Impact Awards at the Phil. And these are individuals and actually organizations that have made incredible impact with your business, community, and the industry. The winners will be announced live at the Phil, 15th through 17th. They'll also be celebrating the press release, social campaign to share with your community. If you're interested in applying for that, there's an application. We're looking for transformative ideas, results, and stories, and you can go to our website to submit your essay, short essay, actually. If you haven't registered for the Phil and the Light Bulb Moment event, go ahead and do so. We're going to go through the 5 key gaps. Oh my gosh, we have a guide for every gap. We've been prepping like mad, and they're going to be amazing. They're going to be great workshops, very interactive. Some new twists on several of our tools, including some new tools will be released. It's also an opportunity to fill your bucket and get away. As leaders, we do need to spend time to rejuvenate. So if you haven't registered yet, please go ahead and do so. Also, heads up, we're talking quite a bit about the financial wellness for employers of choice, Money Pro, that will be coming very soon to the marketplace. So stay tuned for that. It really addresses core financial literacy skills that are needed and lacking with many in the workforce, not just pro beauty, but certainly that's our focus. Financial literacy is a very hot topic with us right now, and we're really trying to create some great light bulb moments around that too. Tom's light bulb moments, Tom's top of mind, a couple top of mind things for me. So yes, I was out last week. I was down in Scottsdale touring the property where the Phil's going to be at and doing some planning down there. And I want to distinguish between a vacation and working remotely. So last week was working remotely. It was not on vacation. And, peace of mind and clearing your brain and getting away from your environment, especially if you live in the great north like I do up in Minnesota, is very healthy and wonderful. And some of my light bulb moments is that when you're away and when you have the ability to change your surroundings occasionally, what it does is it opens up new possibilities. Changing your environment is very powerful. So several lessons from that last week. Got a lot of writing done last week. We came up with some new things that will be released in this financial literacy course. And I love the opportunity to get away and connect with people and spend time with the family, but it definitely was not a vacation. I don't see a vacation coming, Ronan, until I fly over to Ireland and see you one of these days, but that's not true. It'll be right after the Phil. But you know what? In all seriousness, we've talked quite a bit in terms of preparation from the Phil and in terms of time management. And there's different types of days, and there's days when you're extreme focus, and then there's days when you need to disconnect. Creativity is really the space between the notes, and that's when it comes. So anyway, we missed having a session last week. We're on again next week. We've got a great guest. It is going to be, I can't actually remember who it is, but it was a great guest. But anyway, let's keep moving along. Ronan, let's get you up first and up front and center. How are you this morning? Excuse me, this afternoon, or is it evening?
It's about 4 p.m. Yeah, so it's afternoon anyway. Yeah. So hello everyone. Nice to see you all, or meet you.
So I have my Irish Blessings book here. And so I thought in your honor, and I grew up with when Irish eyes are smiling, and certainly I have Irish in me. So how about this one? So in your honor, I'm going to give you this Irish blessing. May your home be filled with laughter. May your pockets be filled with gold. And may you have all the happiness your Irish heart can hold. So thanks for joining us.
Right. That's good. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Delighted to be here. Yeah.
So you were just a lad and you were working in a salon and at the front desk, right?
Yeah. I'd left college and I was kind of thinking about what I was going to do. And I ended up working in a salon as a receptionist. And I took the job really just to pass the time really at the start. I needed to make some money or whatever, but I hadn't really thought about the industry at that point. This is maybe 18 years ago. And from within about 20 minutes of working there, I fell in love with the industry and I haven't left it since. So I obviously did, it had an impact on me. And what I loved about it was it's something that I hadn't experienced before. And I think everyone on this call, obviously knows this inherently because it's what they do every day. But if you haven't worked in this industry, the energy and the kind of passion that's in it is actually quite strange. It's a bit surreal to people. And I'd worked in jobs before where I had served customers like in a corner shop, or when I was in college, I worked in a fast food joint and stuff like that. So I was standing behind a desk serving customers. And in my mind, even though that's crazy, in my mind, it was like, it was going to be a bit like that. I was behind a desk and people were going to be coming in and out and I was booking appointments and going to be paying them out. But it was totally different because people come into a business like that really looking forward to it. So they walk in the door, come up to the desk, and they are looking forward to being in there that day. And then they go away and spend 2 hours with their stylist or, having a treatment or whatever it is. And when they come back to the desk, they feel even better than they did when they came in. And what's really strange to people who don't work in this industry is that's not normal. You know what I mean? Like people work, all day and they never meet one customer that is feeling like that. And if you work in a salon, you're maybe meeting 30, 40, 50 people like that every day. The day just goes by like that and you feed off it. And that was the big kind of light bulb moment for me, since you're talking about light bulb moments. it's 20 minutes in the job, and I was just like, wow, this is great. I'm loving this. And then suddenly it was 6 o'clock and it was the end of the day. And yeah, 18 years later, I'm still here basically.
So 20 minutes to 2,000 salons just in the US. How many salons globally?
We're coming up to 9,000.
Okay, so 9,000 salons, Ronan, that's very impressive. And this was not a, hey, get a bunch of money, dump a bunch of money in the business and try to go quick. I mean, your story is more about a slow build and a very disciplined way to grow your company. I think that's a lesson. And that's not true for a lot of technology companies, by the way. But I think it's a great lesson for all of us. So talk to us about some of your core values as you really started to, grow this business.
So, well, yeah, so a couple of things. Firstly, to answer your question, we didn't raise venture capital for Phorest. And so that is the kind of normal way of doing it now. And you probably read about that on the internet or in papers and stuff. Company raised 50 million or they raised whatever. And we kind of didn't go down that path. Well, because it was harder to do back then, but secondly, I often feel that that's the wrong incentives when you do that. Like, it's all about how quickly you can make enough money then to sell the business so that the investors get the money back, right? And those incentives aren't really aligned with, say, if you're working for the industry or your mission is about helping salon owners, like it is in our case. So, we feel we're on a mission for 30, 40, 50 years or longer. Like, there is no timeline on it, to build an organization that supports salon owners and helps them grow their business. So, like, raising lots of money doesn't really necessarily help with that, because you're going to be clashing. There's going to be a lot of friction between what the investors want out of you and what you're trying to do, right? So that's one thing I learned, which is interesting. And I think in terms of like the core values of the business, we've something called, we've three, and we've had them for about 15 years. When we were 10 people in the room, we're 300 people now, and those values are still there. And one of them's in Irish, which, since you mentioned that, I wasn't going to say that, but that since you mentioned it, we got somebody gave us a shamrock in the comments, so I'll talk about it. But so one of our values is, we call Service Gehintuk, which is the Gaelic or the Irish for amazing service. And so we all, from starting with myself, and when I worked the front desk. I was all about helping customers. Everybody who joins Phorest, that's their kind of one of their core values. But when we talked about it, Service Gehintuk means more than just good service, because like every company in the world says, yes, we're great at customer service. I'm sure everyone in the call thinks the same, and I'm sure you are. I'm not saying that you're not, but we felt like we really, really meant it. So Service Gehintuk means, in Irish, it kind of means like more of an Irish welcome as well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's more than just, and it doesn't mean you have to be Irish to do it. Like, obviously anyone can do it, but it just has a meaning in Irish that we were able to like capture with that. And so that we try, we want to make our customers feel welcome and at home, not just like look after their problems, right? So that was one of our core values. And there's a Bridget Flanagan asking there, Service Gehintuk. So I'm going to just write it into the into the comments directly, because
Flanagan sounds just a little bit Irish.
She sounds Irish, yeah, maybe. So, and then the other value that we have is, another value we have is growth mindset. So that everyone is looking for, improving themselves, trying new things. And another way someone put it the other day, which I think encapsulates it really well, is like, if you have the aptitude and the attitude and the enthusiasm, you don't necessarily have to have the experience, you're going to learn it, and you're going to, give it a proper shot. And I think that's one of our values in Phorest, because we're all doing a lot of this for the first time, but if you approach it with the right attitude, you're going to succeed eventually. So that's the second one. And the third one is evergreen, which kind of goes back to your point there. So we're trying to build a company that is self-financing, but also self-perpetuating. So basically it means that it can last forever. So you're not going to take short-term decisions, again, to make a quick buck or to grow faster just so you can sell it quicker next year or something like that. You're going to make the right decision for the customers and for the employees and for everyone, and you'll have a much longer term business as a result. So there are three values. So I hope that answers your question, does it?
Yes, it does. And I want to stay with Ireland just for a moment longer here, because Dublin has a reputation of being a place that has a lot of innovation. It's a bit of a tech center. Is that not correct? That Dublin has that reputation as being a key European city of commerce and technology and forward thinking?
Yeah, well, it's basically like, it's kind of like the San Francisco of Europe from a technology point of view. Obviously not well, it rains a lot here as well, so maybe from that point of view as well. But yeah, like all the companies that from Google, Facebook, Dropbox, Airbnb, every single one of them has their European headquarters in Dublin. So we've kind of been lucky to have all that expertise kind of grow up here, and so many Irish people will have worked for those companies and learned, like what's the cutting edge way of building technology companies and things like that. So that's been here. So that's certainly something that kind of inspires you on as well. So as a result, that sort of started to happen about 20-30 years ago. So as a result, it's just become it's almost purely tech here. Yeah, it really is like that. Yeah.
So now, Phorest is a sponsor of the Phil, which is awesome. You won't be joining us this year, but we'll be looking for you in
next 2000.
Year. We'll be seeing 2023, and I fully expect that I'll be in Dublin prior to that. So hopefully that's going to happen too. But let's talk about technology and trends. From your seat, like what you see. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that many people on this roundtable have already heard about, but are there any unique perspectives that you have that would be trend orientated that our audience might appreciate hearing about?
Yeah, like a couple of things. So let's talk about three areas, because and I'll tell you what those three areas are, and then I'll talk a bit about each one. So the first one I would say is consumer trends and basically finding new customers. Okay, so finding new customers for salons, more and more, like obviously referrals has always been the best source or form of finding a good customer for your business, right? For a salon, and that still exists. Like I'm not kind of talking about that's going away or anything like that. But in terms of finding new customers in other ways, almost all of that is online in some form now, and that is just accelerating. And what's happening is more and more people are using the internet or different apps and things like that to find different niches of products or services or looks or whatever that they want to find. And there's more and more communities online, niche ones, big ones, on different platforms. And so being able to reach those and get new customers from those is going to be a key differentiator for any business, but in particular, like in a salon business. So talk about that. So like, just talk about that. That'll be marketing. A second one would be the way you operate in a salon. So like, if you think about it, if I come from the salon software background. So, obviously we had salon software managing bookings, and that was really how technology first entered the industry. And that's kind of the core. Point of sale and bookings are kind of like the core part of your business that started with technology, but now we're seeing it like spread out into other areas. So there's a phrase, software is eating the world, which you may have heard as people say before. I don't know if anyone's heard that, but basically what that means is just technology bit by bit, software makes all these different things that you would have done manually more efficient. And we're starting to see that in the salon space, whether it's Vish in terms of like, managing your color and cutting down in color wastage, or tipping through something like Tippy, and you're seeing all these other bits of technology basically coming into a salon. And guess, people on this call probably use some of these services or things like that. But they all ultimately are all fitting together because they all relate to the customer in some way. And so you're going to have to start thinking about your salon really like your customer database as the center of all these different things and operations that you can do in your business. And I can just give you some tangible examples about that and where that's going, because you can see that's really going to accelerate over the next 10 years. And then the third way in terms of technology is really around staff. So I would say around your employees, because the biggest resource, the biggest asset, but the biggest challenge you have in your business is your employees and your team. And like at the moment, obviously, well, for the last year or so, it's never been as hard to find staff, good staff, and business is actually, for many salons, has never been better, but they just don't have the staff to cope with the growth and things like that. So that's going to become, well, it already was that, someone who has a good salon business knows how to manage people well, or get good people in, or train them up, right? Because like, if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to grow your business. That's always been the case in this industry, but it's going to become even more important. And I think technology is going to help with that now more as well. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as well if you want.
Yeah.
So they're the three things. So sorry, yeah, go ahead there, Tom.
No, please go ahead.
So I would say, so we just go with those again: marketing, finding new clients, operations, salon operations, and then managing your people. So if we start with marketing, I think, and I'm seeing more and more of this, like it started with the bigger salons because they probably had more resources or money to spend on it, but like doing stuff around Google AdWords or things like that like a salon business wouldn't normally traditionally have done those kind of things. And being able to use technology or using platforms to advertise in a way that's efficient, and we've seen, and that's just spreading. So we're seeing we're that's stuff that we do in Phorest, but we're not talking about that today, but that's what we feel like we need to really help more with, is like there's different platforms, whether it's TikTok or it was Snapchat a few years ago, or whether it's Facebook or it's Instagram or whatever the platforms are, and being able to work with those APIs so that you can get more customers in, get the more right type of customer in. And there's a thing called I don't know if anyone's heard of it here, called lookalike audiences. And if I'll explain it anyway, because a lot of people don't, they might hear the term and they don't really understand how powerful it is. But basically, this is a thing that is on all platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Well, they're the same, obviously, but or TikTok now, where you basically can upload your clients' email addresses to these platforms, and they will find customers that aren't your customer that have the same profile as those email addresses. So what I would do, is I go my top 100 customers in my salon, and I get all their email addresses. I upload it to this, and I know they're my top 100 customers because they might spend, they might come in 15 times a year or 10 times a year, and they might spend $200 every time. So, or whatever, it is. So they'll have certain characteristics that Facebook or Instagram or whoever will know, because they will go, right, these 100 people, they know those 100 people, what they like, what topics they like, what shopping they do. It's a bit scary, really, in some ways. It might be freaking some people out, but they do know all this stuff. And so they're able to go, well, in this area. So say you're in, Georgetown or wherever it is, and they'll just go, in this area, this circumference, we can find another 300 users on our platform that are the same as those. So they're probably same age, same consumer spend, all that stuff. And you can advertise just to them. And so basically it allows you to kind of do because you're only targeting 300 people, you can spend quite a lot of money on them. So you can reach them really well. And that's really powerful if you think about it, because you're just going to advertise specifically to people nearby who would, if they became a customer of yours, would be a good customer. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that concept is available on all the platforms, and the salon businesses that I see utilizing that are doing really, really well. And so there's more and more to come there, basically, and it's worth your while understanding that kind of thing, because it'll only help your business. So that would be on the marketing side, and I could talk for 2 hours just about that. So and you'd probably be bored senseless. So I can go on to the next one, but I think that's one thing. And then the second one was the salon operations, right? Salon operations. So so we're seeing if I think back to 18 years ago, it was just appointments and point of sale. Now a lot of our customers will have 4 or 5 integrations to Phorest, beyond like everything we do. We're doing like any software that you guys might be using, stock control and your appointments and reporting and all that kind of stuff. So these integrations are then helping your business save money or make money in further ways. And like Vish is a great example where, basically it reduces color wastage with a Bluetooth. I'm giving a really overly simplified way of how it works, but basically make sure that that you weigh everything exactly right, and then it remembers those weights, so that the next time the person's getting the particular different types of color they're getting the exact same one. So there's no wastage. And then also it's picking up whether people have had extra color or something like that applied during the visit, and making sure that at point of sale that's getting charged, because that's another huge thing that people miss out on, is that people get extra services and then they're forgotten to be charged. They just get charged for the thing they originally booked. And so that, and if obviously from a financial point of view, Tom, you'd be all over that, I'm sure. But so say there's something like that, Vish, and that's one example, and there's lots of different things. That then gets integrated back into your core database, because the customer has made an appointment. So let's say it's Bridget Flanagan here. So she was she posted that there. So Bridget is having her appointment. We know what what she comes in and usually has. We know what stylist Bridget goes to. We know the products that Bridget buys and all that kind of stuff. And now we also know exactly whatever her color, whatever form or code that you use to record the exact tubes bits of the tubes that you're using in the color to be applied for her is all recorded, and then that's recorded over time as well. So they're both being integrated together. And then you can imagine I'm also taking all that, and then because as a salon owner, you own that that's your biggest asset, is your customer database, right? And so you're owning that, and then you're using that information, if you think about it, to also then go back to my first point, which is uploading that to Facebook or Google or wherever it is, to be able to find more people just like that as well. So the more information you're collecting on your customer through all these extra things that you're doing, the richer your database is, and the more valuable that is as well to your business. So that's only going to increase dramatically over the next 10 years. And it's really interesting. And you should, as a business owner, I would always encourage people to try these things, because the more that you have going on actually together, they actually bring you more advantages that you may not see with one of them, but it's combined. They have other advantages in the background, Tom, which you don't necessarily see even directly in the exact thing that they're doing. And then the third one is just the staff. So I think motivating your team, making them feel engaged, all that stuff is obviously crucial to any business, like our business as well. Like we're struggling to get good people, like you're struggling to get good people, like everybody is, right? So we're all in the same boat. And just when it comes to from a technology point of view, there's obviously lots of things you can talk about, values and all those kind of things as well. They're obviously really important, but from a technology point of view, the more information you put into your stylist's hand, and the more feedback you can give her into her hand, into her pocket, or that she or he gets, generally speaking, the more motivated they are. It's like if you're playing a football match or a basketball match and you don't know the score, are you going to be as motivated as when you know you're 2 points down, you need to get that next to 2 points? Obviously, you're going to be more motivated when you know exactly what the score is. And I think traditionally in a lot of salon businesses, that information wouldn't have been handed out as easily to the staff as maybe it should have been. And as a result, now you can, and you can do it through apps and things like that, where they, where a stylist knows exactly where she stands, what her own targets are for the week, and that she may have even set herself, or she was given, or she agreed with her manager, or whatever it is. And then she knows when she's just about to hit it, and she gets prompts of like, one more product and you hit your product upsell goal of the week, or, and you get a little badge, and all this sort of stuff that you can do to engage your team. It doesn't replace like being a good manager anyway. You have to do the offline stuff as well, like the normal stuff, but it accentuates it, and it just makes the job more meaningful when you kind of have all this more information. And so I think the more you can do around that as a salon owner with using technology, you're gonna reap rewards. And I can see that really increasing as well.
So I want to talk to you about technology optimization. And then I want to talk about this $250,000 fund. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So one of the things that we know about technology as it advances is the number of features, the number of reports just keep getting better and better. And however, there's still this big gap. The gap is the difference between the actual use of key features and reports and optimizing versus capacity. I mean, I recall being in a decision-making mode on a scheduling POS system. And we had our existing system, and there was another one that had all these bells and whistles. And it was like, wow, we're only using 10% of what we got right now. Well, what if we just use 15% of what we got right now, or 20% of what we got right now? How do you bridge the gap between all the wonderful features and benefits that might come out of a system like yours or your competitors, or even some of the other technology solutions such as Vish and some of the other ones that we know are out there? How do you bridge the gap to like fully optimize so many of the great features and reports that come with a system like yours? And would you agree with me that
it's the biggest problem, like undoubtedly, Tom, like that is the biggest challenge we have in our business, 100%. Because like the amount of stuff that we have in, like we've been building software for 18 years. There's some crazy amount of features in there. Some of them are used by like 5 salons out of 9,000, and it keeps me up at night, keeps the team up at night, to be honest, because it's like you also pour your heart into making something. Do you know what I mean? Solving something, or like we have a feature called like Client Reconnect, which basically identifies if customers aren't going to come back anymore, like regular customers are coming back and then they stop. It kind of warns you just before that happens. And like it's the most amazing feature, one of the most amazing features we've ever done. And the problem is, as a salon owner or a style, you're getting all this, but do this, do stock, do color records, do all, do your bookings, do online bookings, get an app, it's all coming at you, and you can't, you don't have, you've got a full-time job going on as it is, and you can't cope with all this information. And I think, so it's a problem we think about all the time, and it's a problem that's only going to get worse because technology, like we've just said, technology is eating the world. So you're only going to have more good features next year than you have this year. You're not going to have less, right? So it's a problem that always increases. So we like there's like, I know the way we think about it, and the way I think, like I try to think about, like from a salon owner, is like not try to like learn it all at once, and just put aside time to invest in your team. And this is the way actually we try to approach it with our own team, with all our own technology, because we've got 50, 100 different programs that we use in our own business to do different things. And you can't learn it all, and you can't learn it all quickly. Yeah, it just takes time. And once you realize, I think once you should breathe out and just go, right, this is an ongoing project. It's not, oh, I learned this and then we know everything, which is the way a lot of people approach it. I'll do a day's training, everyone knows it, and then let's not think about it again for 2 years. Like, it's ongoing. So, because it's not just about learning all the new things coming. It's not just that you have a new staff member or stylist that joins today that wasn't there when you learned about the product last week, and then there's new features coming. It's also like going back and making sure that you really are using those features that you did learn about before. So it's an ongoing thing. And the way we look at it is that everyone needs to spend 1 day every 2 months on learning. We call L&D, learning development. And that learning development is not their core job. So in the case of, like, if you're a stylist or front of house coordinator or whatever it is, this isn't like you learning the new color technique or the new styling technique. It's not that, because you got to do that as well anyway, right? So that's separate. It's like business processes, and that if you make sure that that's scheduled in, that you're doing a day every 2 months. More, look, if you can do it every month, do it every month. But people are busy, obviously. So like 2 months seems to be something that people can do, because that's 6 days every year. And in those 6 days, or maybe it's a half day every month, whatever it is, you are learning a part of the software. You're learning how to do the color management better. You're learning how to do a marketing campaign better. You're learning how to do, take deposits online or whatever it is. And like, what we provide there is we have like learning paths in our software, and other softwares have it too. So I'm not talking about specifically just this is Phorest or whatever, but like, we would have a learning paths, and everybody gets to see, you have each thing that you can do. There's like, hundreds of things, is its own e-learning course, and you can do that and make sure that each staff member does it and gets ticked off on it. And so we can help with that half day, but it doesn't just have to be Phorest. It could be Vish, or it could be something else totally entirely. You know what I mean? It could be a sales training, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Or whatever, or maybe some of your suppliers provide something else. But if you book that in, like, all I can tell you is that when you book that in, if you just went to bed and wake up in a year's time, your team will be so much more empowered, so much more efficient, making way more money and way more motivated. And they have fun doing that. So it is worth it. Just schedule it in. That would be my kind of big hot take on that.
And I love the suggestion. I'm going to give a little editorial comment around that. Ronan, you're probably not familiar with something that we call 8 seasons. It's a planning system that breaks your calendar into 8 different segments, 8 seasons. So
right, yeah.
For those of you out there in 8 seasons, put this on your 8 seasons calendar under the whatever function. I think it's a brilliant idea that every season you should take time to learn your technology. And to your point, if you do it 8 times a year, or 6 times, or 12 times, what's going to happen is those incremental gains are going to start to add up. So I love the suggestion, and it's already sort of built into our execution methodology, putting in those time buckets. All right, I got to get you onto this fund, okay? So I saw this thing come out, and by the way, thank you for being such a gracious guest and for being so accessible. You're a busy guy, and sent the invite, and it was like, yep, you're in. So it's been a pleasure to get to know you, Ronan. So thank you.
Thank you.
So $250,000. And first I read about it, looked like one of these like competitions, like a pitch type thing, where there might be a winner. It might be a sort of your form of financing, but you have a whole different twist on this. So tell us about this $250,000 fund.
So yeah, basically what happened was that we were like, every sort of 7-8 years, we rebrand the company, as in we get a new logo, update it. Most of you guys be the same, I'm sure, if you've been around for a good while. You get a bit tired looking at the same old things, so you've refreshed. So we were doing that, and when we were doing that, we realized that's kind of, it's really it's just material. It's just kind of, it's just on the front. There's no kind of, it looks nicer, but it's not necessarily any substance to it. Like, why were we, what could we actually do with this that would mean more to our customers? Because that's kind of where the idea came from for this thing called the Phorest Growth Fund. Because we were like, our mission as a business is to help salon and spa owners grow fantastic businesses. Like, that's our mission. It has been our mission since the very first day I worked in a salon, right? So because of that, what can we do with this rebrand, it actually helps with that. And so that's where the idea for having a fund that would be available for our customers to apply for money to spend on something in their business that grows their business. So for, like say $2,000, I want to do a new website. I want to do something, some Google AdWords like system or something like that, or whatever. They're two kind of technology things. They don't even necessarily have to be technology, but something that grows the business. You could apply to Phorest, and if it's a good idea, we'd have a panel that would be industry experts that would just go, yes, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. It's well thought out. We'll fund that. And it's cash. It's not a voucher. It's nothing like that. It's cash.
It's a grant.
It's paid not directly. Yeah.
It's not a loan. It's a grant. It's
a grant. It's not a loan. We don't expect the money back. Nothing like that. It's purely us giving that out. Instead of spending money on advertising, just to be clear, because it's like, where does that money come from? That money would probably be spent on advertising or something like that. And we're like, well, rather than spending on advertising, why don't we just give it to this? And it's not a support mechanism for a failing salon. So just to be clear, and by the way, I'm not like, if your salon is struggling or not, or being really successful, the Phorest Growth Fund is for any salon. It's not specifically for someone who's struggling, because, like obviously during COVID, there was grants or loans and things like that. And like, that's not what this is. This is for growth. So this is like for your salon owner, how do I grow? How do I do something that's going to improve my business? That's what the growth fund is. And you can be a small salon, 2 people in a room. You could be a big, 30 stylists in a salon. It doesn't matter, or 5 locations, whatever it is, and you want to grow. So like, that's the idea. And because Phorest is about growth, like we're all like, the name Phorest comes from tree, acorns growing into trees. Like growth mindset's one of our core values. Our software helps you grow your business. Like that's the idea with all these marketing tools. So I that's where the idea comes from. But it's not that, and we will pay that to the company. So if you go, I want to get a website from whoever it is, they send us the invoice and we pay that once it gets approved. So that's the idea, and it's $250,000 we put up to do this, and we're really excited about it. It's launching properly at the end of this month, and if you search it on Google Phorest Growth Fund, you'll get more information about it, or you can sign up to hear about it when it's fully launched on the 21st of March. And we're really excited about it. We've got a great panel for that as well. Like we have, I think, like different people from the industry, but we have people like Paolo Berguzzi, who was the CEO of Davines for like 20 years. We've Jana Renert, who was founder of like Image Skincare, and we've got different people anyway from the industry who maybe retired now, whatever, but they're going to just be on this panel, and really they know how these kind of businesses work from an independent point of view. So nothing to do with us, because what we don't want to get into is kind of like Phorest, why'd you give it to him and not to her? But like, we'd love to give it to everybody, you know what I mean? Obviously, but so it's an independent kind of panel to making that decision.
So do they have to be a Phorest customer to be eligible for this?
Yeah, well, like
okay.
that's one. Yeah, that's one of the criteria. Unfortunately, because like, it's $250,000. Like, that's got to be spread amongst all the US customers. So we can't, you know what I mean? If it was everybody, then it would be just spread too thin. So that's one of the reasons there.
I knew the question probably was going to come up, so I thought I would just ask it anyway. So
maybe one day, if it's successful and we get other people to fund it, you never know what might happen. If it goes well, which we really, we're really excited to see the results, and if the results are really there, we might get other sponsors in and make the funds bigger in the future. Let's just see what happens. But this is for this one anyway.
Well, it's very exciting. I think that maybe someone put in the chat something about it. Let me just see here.
How can we apply?
It's in there by a couple of people. Michelle from
Bridget, are you sure you're not working for Phorest? This is great. And I think Michelle put it up there as well. Thanks. So we'll like you. I think you can sign up there or just keep a tab on it, but the 21st is when it goes live and you can apply. as a Phorest customer.
All right. So Ronan, before we let you go here, so tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, what you like to do in your free time, if you have any free time. Just let's get to know Ronan for a couple minutes before we let you go here.
Yeah, well, well, I've three boys, 4, 7, and 9. I'm surprised none of them have run in here. Actually, last time we were talking briefly, Tom, I had 2 invasions. They tend to come in here even though they're not supposed to. But so one of the nice things with COVID actually was that, I used to work and travel a lot. I was on a plane all the time, and like with COVID, I've spent so much more time with my kids actually. So it's something I don't want to give up easily now, which is great. I'm sure some of you guys may have seen this or not. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the kind of benefits of forcing yourself to stay and do work from home. So I am back in the office a couple of days a week now, but I'm never going back, 5 days. I mean, sorry, 7 days. That was a Freudian slip there, but so that's brilliant. So I'm things that I'm interested in is I'm an absolute Lego fanatic. So I hid that all here because my wife keeps telling me to remove it from my interview or from any chats on Zoom. But so I do that with my kids, but I actually do it more than my kids. So I'm every day I'm spend about half an hour to an hour building stuff on Lego. Weirdly, but so still a big kid really in some ways. But I don't know if that.
Yeah, well, I love Legos myself. Have you seen the skyscraper series? The Legos that are skyscrapers, they're awesome.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. Is that it? I haven't seen that. We don't.
Yeah,
maybe don't have that here.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have to send you one or something like that.
Yes, send me a link. Yeah. Or you mean the actual Lego skyscraper? Because like I've built some actually myself, but just my own creations. But
there's some of the best skyscrapers in the world, and there's these kits. It's sort of an architectural series within Legos.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah.
Well, listen, I so appreciate spending time with you. If we could all give Ronan a virtual round of applause and give him a little shout out in the chat there. Ronan, I want to award you the $1 million light bulb and officially welcome you to our brain trust. We definitely had some light bulb moments today, and we look forward to staying connected with you and learning more about your fund. And you're doing some great things, and I love your way of approaching business. Very entrepreneurial, very human-centered, and it's cool to watch. So thank you, and congratulations on all your successes so far.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on, and lovely to meet you all. And actually, I've got some other questions there. I'll answer them in the comments quickly before I head off. But thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Look forward to meeting you properly. Yeah.
I'm going to welcome our crew in a moment here. I'm going to see what else we have. In fact, you know what I'm going to do first is I'm going to see who's with us today and say hi. I can't weigh in the chat. That'll completely distract me, but we certainly have a great group today. Anna and Andrea and Andrew and Anna and Ashley and Austin and Bridget and Christine and Dawn. We have Aaron. Yeah, by the way, Ronan, 2 kids, Aaron and Ryan, pretty about as Irish as you can get in terms of naming your kids, right? We got Heather Ann, we got Holly, James, Jan, Joe and Karen, I should say, Kelly, Lisa, Louisa. I know Louisa's a big fan of Phorest. Marie from our team, Melissa. Mike's on. Hey, Mike, how are you today? And Nina, hi, Nina, and Sager and Sandra. Scott, hey, Scott, and Stephanie and Steve and Susan, Tanya, Terry, Tracy, and I might have missed a few people, but wonderful to have all of you join us today. Let me see what else I have before we wrap things up today. We are on next week, heads up, welcoming Ronan to the Brain Trust. Now, one more time, guys, if you have anybody that you think you would like to nominate for the golden light bulb, or a golden light bulb that we'll award in May, please send me a message. People that you think have made a big impact on these weekly roundtables. We're looking for some suggestions. Send it in a private chat to either me or Michelle. That would be great. Again, May 15th, opportunity to celebrate all these light bulb moments. And to be clear, this is a different award. We're actually going to have two sets of awards. One of them is an award, one's more of a recognition. The Golden Light Bulb is really more of a recognition. The Impact Award is more of an award. And but either way, register for the Phil. If you haven't signed up yet, please do so. Remember. All right. And Money Pro, watch for Money Pro. That's going to be coming soon. Stay tuned for messages on that. If you're not working with a Qnity coach, reach out to us. You can have a complimentary discovery session. Shout out to our sponsors, which is Pivot Point, who is our partner in crime for the money program for students that we launched last September. Already 12,000 students are going to be going through that program, already signed up or in the middle of it as we speak. So if you are a school, you can go to qnityforschools.com to book a demo. Also, shout out to Lightheart Sanders, CPAs. They've been a sponsor of the School Roundtable. Great guys and great value. So anyway, I think that that is what we have for you today. I'm going to take a moment to read the chat. Thanks for joining us. Ronan's amazing. And we will look forward to seeing all of you next week. And that, guys, is a wrap. Thanks very much. And this is the end of the session.